When the clock strikes 8, you know what time it is. Welcome to the Brian Show. Brian.
Looking for another good time, my heart. Yeah, ready? Yeah. Hear the stage, train leader, roll you through my veins, and I say we're still summer hot, never stop in the same. Below the two, keep summer hot, never stop. Wow! 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 Always remember, we're Motley fucking Crue!
Oh man. Listen to that thing 10 times in the past couple days after discovering it. Motley Crue's getting back together for some ungodly reason. Vince Neil is fat and can't sing, and and Tommy Lee, I think, is married to a 21-year-old, and he's in his 50s. So I guess they're living their best life. Mick Mars, the last time I heard, had some degenerative bone disease that caused his spine to be fused, and he's had trouble moving for many years. That's kind of what he's known for. So, and then Nikki Sixx is his own ball of problems. He's a 50-something-year-old man that dresses like he does, like he's still in the 80s. But whatever. People are going to pay to go see him, so I'm not, but somebody will. Welcome to the Brian Show, everybody. I took a week off last week. I was packing to go out of town for a little while, and I just needed a week off because I'd done 4 of those, 5 shows in a row, 5 weeks in a row, and I was kind of getting. I was running out of ideas, and I figured, take a week off here and there is not going to be a big deal. I'm not going to take a week. I'm not going to take every week off, obviously. I'm not going to take, more than a week off every once in a while. But it's got to be a. I want to maintain some consistency with this. So welcome everybody. This is a show that I've been doing for a few weeks now. It's my 6th show, and it's called The Brian Show, and it's just a outlet for me to talk about whatever I feel like talking about. And there's going to be some comedy. There's going to be some music. There's going to be some musical comedy. I don't know. It's I have a list of things I talk about, and then I stick to it or I don't. So it could be a compelling. It could be a compelling hour, or you could be deadly bored. Shout out to Brian Austin Green, my man Brian Austin Green, my man Brian Bell from Weezer. Who else we got? We have Brian McKnight. And let's see here. Who else do we got here? Brian Piccolo, subject of the TV movie Brian's Song, which the song goes, Brian, 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 it is Brian's song. Everybody knows it's Brian, and you know that he's not lying song. So that was what that was about. Brian Luttrell, member of the boy band The Backstreet Boys. So welcome everybody. You can find me on Twitter at The Brian Show Live. You can find me, you can email me, Brian Show Live at, I think it's The Brian Show Live or Brian Show Live. I think it's The Brian Show Live at gmail.com. Just put both of them. One of them will get kicked back and one of them won't, so you'll know. I should know this, but I don't off the top of my head. And I got a Twitter somewhere, like I said, and then I got a Facebook group. I keep it private, but certainly if you request it, I'll add you unless you're a federal agent or something, which then you need a warrant. But there's nothing. I'm not hiding anything. I just like to keep my work life and my personal life a little bit separated. So it's been a real shit-ass week. It really has. And thank you to everybody that has been there for me. First and foremost, my wife, who's been able to, Kat, who was on a couple episodes ago, that's been able to help me through it. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but I'm sure there are people listening that do know what happened. So, but I'll get through it. And this is part of the process, the show, and I look forward to it every week. So, thank you to everybody, and so we're gonna have a good time. I'm not gonna dwell on things I can't change and things that are beyond my control, because I have done that, and it's not very helpful. And next week, I think I'm going to talk. We're going to talk a little bit more about where we went. We went to Nashville, which is in the great state of Tennessee, last week, to see a live version or a live panel discussion with the cast of Schitt's Creek. Now you may say, Schitt's Creek? That's a stupid name for a show, and I agree. It's spelled SCHITT''S, but it's such a fantastic show. It's a little Canadian show that's all the seasons are on Netflix, and it's about this family that loses everything. They never really say how, and they just lose all their money, and they're really wealthy, and then they have to move into this hotel in the town of Schitt's Creek, and it's about their adventures there. But we saw the creator. Well, probably the two most famous people in it are Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. Eugene Levy he's been in lots of things, mostly the Christopher Guest movies, but he was the pie fucker's dad in American Pie, and Catherine O'Hara, of course, is America's Canadian Sweetheart. She played Mrs. McAllister. I don't remember her first name, but Kevin's mom in Home Alone, and then of course she's been in multiple Christopher Guest movies. And then Eugene Levy's son Dan, who's the creator and also stars in the show, and then a couple other cast members to round it out. And it was fun. I had a good time, and we'll probably talk about it more next week. But that's where we were, and we had a good time. Nashville was pretty cool. I like country music to a certain extent. I like the outlaw country music. I like the 60s, 60s and 70s, some of the early 80s stuff. Randy Travis, Dwight Yoakam, of course, Johnny Cash and all that kind of stuff. Hank Williams Jr. You know, the big names. I don't get too I don't get too inside baseball, but I don't like, and I haven't for many years since I can remember. I don't like the quote newer country. And then there's like this whole offshoot called bro country, which is total garbage, which I can't stand. But Nashville is its own well-oiled machine up there as far as writing songs, but it's a country music mecca, obviously, and we didn't take advantage of it because we're not big country music fans, but you could have gone to see the Johnny Cash Museum. There's the Country Music Hall of Fame. I think there's a Musicians Hall of Fame. So there's some pretty cool stuff. And, but we didn't go. We didn't have enough time to do everything we wanted to do. So, so maybe next time we go. But had some of that famous Nashville hot chicken, which was delicious. I'll tell you though, I did not realize. I thought Nashville hot chicken was a regional delicacy from time immemorial. It's only been around for about 10 years. In any real, I think the place Prince's that we didn't go is the originator of it, and it's been around for a few years, but it didn't really start getting really popular until Hattie B's opened up, which is where we went. And from what I was reading online, it was 2012 when they opened. So it's a relatively new phenomenon. We also went to Third Man Records. That was pretty cool. I'm not a huge White Stripes fan. I won't say I'm a huge fan. I'm a fan. I like them, and I like Jack White's thing, whatever it is that he does. His commitment to analog music, I think, is... I don't know. I think it's a little over the top, but he has the money to commit everything to 2-inch tape and have two different bands play the same song, and he picks which one. So, but that's his record label, and it's his record shop. So we went in there, and he wasn't there, of course, but we bought a couple records and a few knickknacks. So all in all, it was a fun little trip. Then I went yesterday. I got off a plane, went somewhere, and for a job interview, and that was interesting. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'll talk about the plane ride. I'm not going to talk about the interview. But so, how was your week, everybody? You can chat in this YouTube thing. I got a chat set up, and you can say hello if you'd like. Something I was thinking about was the only broadcast TV that we watch is Jeopardy at 7:30. So I have this antenna that is flat. It's called a Mo2 or Mo something. I can't remember. You can find it on Amazon. And we're like most younger people. I'm not that young, but younger people that don't have cable. And we have the streaming services, but we don't have cable TV. So if I ever want to watch something broadcast live, I have to hook up my antenna. So it's this big flat thing, and I attach it to a wall, and then when I'm done with it, I put it back because there's just a big wire that stretches across the room. Because for me to get that channel, I have to stretch it and put it in a certain location. Otherwise, I won't get the station. So anyway, so we watch Jeopardy. So I never get to watch commercials anymore. Not that I like watching commercials, but I rarely watch live TV except for Jeopardy. So there is I haven't watched the nightly news or the morning news in a long time, but apparently there's this whole get your morning started with so-and-so 8 news or 10 news or 13 news or whatever. And, wake up with a cup of Joe and your best friends but it's so freaking loud that I can't, if I wake up in the morning, I don't want to watch TV because everything is so loud, and there's about 2 minutes of talking, and then a bunch of commercials that are loud, and it's just really clattery and rackety. I like my NPR in the morning. It's nice and calming and eases me into the day. So I'll get up and, turn on NPR. And I just can't imagine. And I know people that over the years that, I stay at their house, or when I was a kid, I would stay at my friend's house and wake up in the morning, go to school or something. And the first thing they would do, I actually live with a guy, same thing. The minute he woke up, TV on, click, blare, and it is such a jarring thing to be listening to because it's just so disruptive. It's let me see if I can find one. Let's see. Nope, these are all from 1993. Okay, so that's not what I wanted. But it's just so loud. And same thing with people listening to like morning zoo radio. It's unbelievably boring and stupid and loud. So that was what I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about Middle Eastern food today because I was eating some. And, the different religions that are associated with the Middle East, namely Islam, and then, of course, Christianity and Judaism. The Abrahamics, the big three. But what about falafelism? What would that be like, falafelism? Would you worship ground chickpeas? Is it chickpeas? I think it is, right? It's chickpeas, and you fry them up. Holy chickpeas. Man, those things are good. I used to go to this place for lunch, and they had, and I always wondered, I don't know why I never realized this, but every falafel that I've ever gotten from different places, that they're always that like nice round with the little dimple in the bottom, and they're kind of domed. And I thought, man, they must have steady hands. Not thinking that there was a mold. So I was ordering falafel one time, and the guy put the order in, and I watched the woman behind the counter that was cooking, put the stuff into the mold and pull the mold down and pop it out and stick it in the fryer. I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I don't know why I didn't think about that earlier, but, that's the way it is. So what are you going to do? Man, so Disney Plus came out, and it is doing gangbusters from what I see. Disney Plus is Disney's streaming service. That's $6.99 a month or something. So if anybody wants to send me a username and password, I'll check it out. But I'm not. I don't need to watch the Aristocats. I don't need to watch Lion King 2. I do remember there was, and I looked it up, and I'm sure it's on there. There is a Disney, every like Sunday night or something, there was like Disney movie of the week. And there was this movie with, I think it was Alan Thicke. And I think and it was about this guy who had a robot for a son. It was called Almost Human. That's right. It's called Almost Human. And I remember watching that a few times and thinking, that's interesting. I think it was called Almost Human. See, now I can't find anything on YouTube about it. Alan Thicke robot movie. Alan Thicke movie, Robot Son. Not Quite Human. That's it. Not Quite Human. And there's 2 or 3 of them. Still Not Quite Human. So, let's see. It looks like they don't have... oh, here we go. 1997 promo. All right.
On the Disney Sunday movie,
He's a solid 17-year-old state-of-the-art all-American boy.
a scientist has just come up with his greatest invention.
Hi, Dad.
Alan Thicke creates the ultimate kid, but he's not quite human. Sunday.
What a dumb fucking movie that is. But I'll tell you, it is a movie I watched a couple times, and for some reason it stuck in my brain.
Chip Carson is back.
There he is.
The boy who's not quite human.
Chip, your right leg.
Chip's headed for...
He just somebody said, "Chip, your leg," and his plug was falling out, so he hit the button, and it rolled back up under his pants.
college in the second installment of the Not Quite Human trilogy, Not Quite Human 2. But his etiquette programming isn't complete.
Whoa.
My name's Chip. Do you want to go out with me?
She slapped him for that.
But when Chip finds someone who's just made for him,
Your face is symmetrical.
it's a robot romance with a bug in it.
Without this, they're scrap metal.
And they're holding up a 3/4 inch floppy disk, which somehow contains a robot genome, human genome. I don't know.
And they don't even know it.
This is some sort of hostile program, specifically for destroying androids.
I belong to them. There's nothing I can do about it.
Jay Underwood and Alan Thicke are back for more adventure, more danger, and more laughs in Not Quite Human 2 from Walt Disney Home Video.
Oof. That's a real stinker right there. But I was looking through the Disney Plus archives just to kind of see what they had, and besides Not Quite Human and Not Quite Human 2, they have other things. Some of the ones that I thought of, or I saw that, kind of fly under the radar, and they are ones that you probably don't think about that often, but are good to revisit every once in a while. One of the first ones I saw, and this was probably the most controversial, was Song of the South by Southwest, that one came out in the 90s, and they put that one in the vault, but it's back. Song of the South by Southwest. It's about an indie band, that is made of a bunch of racists, I think. Aristocats 2. There's an Aristocats, and there's Aristocats 2, and that's Aristocats 2, Litterin. So it's Litterin, apostrophe Litterin, like either there's a litter of kittens or litter, like a litter box. I don't know. It's kind of a double meaning there. The next one I saw was the Beastie Boy Adventures. I don't know what the Beastie Boys, what their association with Disney is, but the Beastie Boy Adventures is something that's pretty interesting. I think I'd like to watch that. I think it's animated. Yoda and Friends, that they own Star Wars now, so they're wringing every ounce of profit they can from Star Wars, and Star Wars, the Return of the whatever, and Mandalorian, and the Back to the Future DeLorean man, and all those Star Wars things. The next one, I know Frozen 2 is coming out soon, but they've already released Frozen 3. You have to search for it. It's called Frozen 3, The Dole Whip. So I think they're doing some cross promotion there with if you go to Disney, they have this dessert called the Dole Whip, which is just a soft serve frozen yogurt with sorry, my cat's in the way, with pineapple juice. It's pineapple flavor. It's good. It's a good little dessert. So yeah, it's called the Frozen 3, The Dole Whip Chronicles. This one is called it's about Pinocchio, but it's kind of Pinocchio living on a vineyard, and kind of his adventures there. It's called Pinot Grigio. That's kind of a mouthful, but Pinot Grigio. That one's pretty funny. It should be pretty good. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't watch it, but you know, it's one of those that I'll put in the queue and I'll probably watch at some point.
Shut up!
The next one is called Is Garfield Ours? No, really. That's the name of the movie. It's called Is Garfield Ours? I don't know if they actually meant to put that on there. I think that was just a like a placeholder, a note that the Disney executives put up there to because do they own Garfield? Have they paid Jim Davis to regain the rights? I don't know, but it's just called Is Garfield Ours? There's also one called The Garfield Hours, Hours, which I guess they do own it in some respect if they have a movie called The Garfield Hours. And it's kind of like the Garfield Mysteries, which I think is an actual cartoon. I don't know what the hours refers to, but you know, it's one of those things that you watch it and you wonder how you lived without it for so long. The next one is and I thought was interesting, is a sequel to Operation Dumbo Drop, which, if you'll remember, which I actually haven't seen, but I think I get the gist, is there's an elephant and they need to parachute it into the jungle. I don't know. But this one's called Operation Dumbo Splat. And so I don't know if it's kid friendly or not. I mean, Disney's a kid friendly place, a kid friendly company, but I don't know if Operation Dumbo Splat is something I would let my children watch. But the next one is called Mickey and Minnie and Roger, and it's about Mickey and Minnie opening up their relationship to include a guy named Roger, and it's tastefully done. You know, it's got that Disney sheen to it, so it's not over the top. But you know, you kind of they insinuate some things. They insinuate human on mouse fucking, mouse on mouse, mouse on human, human on two mice, that kind of thing. But you know, pretty tasteful as far as that goes. The next one is called Mickey's Christmas Outhouse Follies, and I don't know what that one's about, but it sounds kind of rustic. You know, if he still has an outhouse, and why they're having any kind of Christmas celebration there, I don't know. The next one's called Goofy's Gravy Wallet, and that's that one. From what I read, I don't know what it entails, but Goofy finds a magic wallet that when he opens it, gravy comes out, and it just continues to make gravy. So I don't know what a gravy wallet is, but it could be something fun, I think. let's see, what else do we got? The next one is called Air Bud, The Final Vet Visit. That one's kind of sad, because everybody loves Air Bud, but, dogs don't live forever. So I think they just kind of chronicle that. Air Bud, The Final Vet Visit. And finally, the last one I saw was, I thought was interesting, was Star Wars, The Empire's Galaxy of the Jedi Wookiee Chronicles. So I think that's the newest one after the one that's coming out this year. It's called The Empire's Galaxy of the Jedi Wookiee Chronicles. So yeah, that's those are my Disney Plus picks that I thought were pretty cool. So yeah, let's see what we got here. What do I want to play to entertain you? Let's do this.
It is Friday morning, which means it's time again for StoryCorps. People are sharing stories about their lives and loved ones with this project. And today we'll hear about the courtship of Stephen Ketchum and Alexandra Budney. They first met 10 years ago. But that might have never happened if it weren't for a plot by their parents.
I remember very clearly 10 years ago when we met.
Yeah.
It was a rainy day,
Yeah.
and I had gone with my mom to the store, and she was picking out a dress for me.
Yeah.
And
Victoria's Secret.
it was really weird because, as much as I like wearing my mom's dresses, she wanted me to get my own. And it was funny that I saw you there.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd seen you before, but I couldn't remember where.
Me too.
And you were with your dad, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And I just couldn't place it. And so I bought the dress, and I bought the bras, and I went and did the drag show later that night.
Yeah.
And you showed up.
There I was.
You showed up as Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Which is really weird, because you do a very good Johnny Depp, and your mustache looks really good.
Thank you.
And you were also with your dad. It was really weird because you were, you guys were really close, and I'd never really seen something like that.
He's really sexy.
Yeah. And later that night, as my mom was helping me bathe, as she was giving me a bath, she was washing my back, and I said, "Mom, who is that girl?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. I know she looks familiar, though."
When I was taking a bath with my dad, we were taking a shower, I asked him the same thing about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is that guy?
So the next week, I went to Victoria's Secret, and I saw you there again.
I know.
And I thought, oh my God, why do I keep running into this girl?
I don't know.
And so your parents got together and kind of contrived this plot, and I didn't know they'd known each other.
Yeah.
And they got together and set us up on a date.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the date was fantastic.
It was really good.
And we went home. Yeah, we went home that night together. Yeah. And I knew that I'd seen you before. So after we, had consummated our first date,
we did it. And I knew you, and you knew me.
I suddenly realized where I'd seen you before.
That's right.
You were my sister.
Yeah, adopted.
And it just made it so much sexier. I guess our parents had been married before, and they just hadn't told us because they knew what kind of a love affair we would have.
Biological.
And
it was really nice.
We've been together ever since.
That's right.
Not legally as man and wife, but, in a very sexy way.
Alexandra and Stephen Ketchum at StoryCorps in New York City. Their conversation will be archived at the Library of Congress, and you can read more from Alexandra and Stephen in the new book, All There Is, Love Stories from StoryCorps.
Sometimes the world looks perfect, nothing to rearrange. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change. No matter all this time, nothing's gonna stand in my way. This flame in my heart, like a long lost friend, gives every dark street a light at the end. Yeah, really. Yeah. Rage, hear the stage, twinkle in the roses through my veins, and I say, we're still summer hot, never stop. Who's say, below the two, keep summer hot, Hoogie boy, round the house. Always remember, we're Motley fucking Crew.
Welcome back to the Brian Show. Welcome to the Brian Show. Back to the Brian Show. The Brian Show. Welcome back to the Brian Show. Brian Show. Yeah, so those story cores are very popular. They're so compelling that I feel like I should rebroadcast them on my show. So that's why I play them. I think they're kind of fun. So I had a couple of ideas for. Well, let me read you the article first. It's a short little blurb, and then I'll kind of tell you what I was thinking. It's for a television show. I don't want to give it too much away, but I think it's kind of a far out idea. 2 Arkansas professors have been accused of making meth at their school. Henderson State University chemistry professor Terry David Bateman and Bradley Allen Rowland were arrested Friday and faced charges of manufacturing methamphetamine and using drug paraphernalia, the Clark County Sheriff said in a statement. Bateman and Rowland have been on administrative leave since October 11th, 3 days after a report of an undetermined chemical odor at a university science center, according to a statement by Henderson State University spokesman Tina Hall. Okay, so 2 university professors are making meth because they know how to make meth because they're chemistry professors, right? So they understand the chemical composition of methamphetamine. So I had this crazy idea for a show. Like, all right, so you have this. It starts out like you have this straight-laced chemistry professor that kind of falls on hard times. He gets in bad with loan sharks. He gets cancer. Or something happens where he needs to make a lot of money real quick. So he decides to make meth and sell it, but he doesn't know how to sell meth. He's not a drug dealer, so he finds a neighborhood kid, some dirtbag that somehow he runs across. I haven't figured out how he runs across him yet. Maybe he was like a former student or something, and he enlists him to sell the meth for him. So this guy, the professor, makes the meth, and then this dirtbag sells it. And so that's kind of the basic premise. And then, but here's the fun part: is as it goes on. I know it sounds unbelievable. It sounds like something that is way out of in left field, but I figured I'd talk about it. As it goes on, they sell so much meth. Like, he's such a good meth creator, meth distributor, that he becomes a drug kingpin. And how does that affect him? So he gets to make a lot of money. He's able to pay back whatever he's got to do. He's got to get his chemo, whatever it is. And so then it's a figuring out kind of where he goes from there. Does he just stop making meth? Is he in love with the lifestyle that comes with all that money? What if he, how does he not get caught? How does the drug dealer partner, where does their character, how do their characters develop? And I was also thinking maybe like, there's another aspect where a DEA agent or like a police officer is like friends with the guy or somehow close to him, and this guy's making meth under his nose. It doesn't make any sense. I know it's not going to go anywhere, but it's just something I was thinking about. It would be if it ever got greenlit, I would be surprised. I mean, I really would. But it's funny how things inspire you. While I was in Nashville, I came across. We went to a farmer's market, and one of the things I saw, which I'd kind of heard about, but I hadn't really given it a lot of thought until I saw it, was this guy was selling bone broth. So he was boiling cow bones and extracting the marrow and the goodness from the bones, and then selling it, which I thought was, I don't know, like selling it to drink, which kind of squeaks me out. I don't know why. I think it's just kind of a reaction that I can't really control. It's one of those I can't think of the right word. It's a involuntary. Yeah, it's a involuntary reaction. And didn't make sense. If I need nutrition, I'm going to drink, or I'm going to eat, a salad, and if I want a hamburger, I'll eat a hamburger. But I don't want to drink liquid meat. So I think for me, I'll just say no thank you to that. And I'll just keep on drinking my filtered plant matter, and adding to it liquid from a cow's udders, and add in some bee vomit. That's the traditional way. That's how I sustain myself. And bone broth can take a hike. That's really the crux of the situation. I had to Venmo somebody some money the other day, and I make sure all my settings are private on there, because I don't want people seeing what I'm Venmoing. Not that I'm doing anything, illicit or anything, but it's one of those things where, what is the point of making this public? But some of the other people that I guess I'm friends with, or not friends with, but are in my phone contacts, or people you may know, whatever their creepy algorithm is that alerts you to people that are already nearby or you may already know. A lot of their Venmo activity is not private, and so there's things like a boyfriend paying a girlfriend for groceries, and rent payment, and back and forth between whoever. But they're trying to make it a social thing, which, why complicate? Like, what information do you glean from somebody making it a public, or making the transaction public? What is the reason behind that? Why do I care if two people that I barely know pay each other, or one person I know pays somebody I don't know for a Christmas gift or something that they went in on? I don't know. It's why it just seems kind of weird, and I don't and I'm sure there's a reason behind it, but I don't understand it. And that's why I keep mine private. So let's see here. Let's see here. Somebody paid somebody for cleaning. Somebody paid something for, they put a lemon, Bad Fish, which I think is a band, entry fee. Like, I don't care about all that. I mean, why do I want to see that stuff? I could hide it, I guess, but it just doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know. Some things, everybody wants to be social on social media, but it's mystifies me. It's mystifying to me. So, where are we at? 15 minutes or so. Where are we at on the old timeline here? Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, I got 15 minutes or so. So I, like I said earlier, I was going to, I took another plane somewhere else for a job interview. And it was out of town, obviously. That's why I took a plane. And in the middle of the flight, it wasn't that long of a flight, but I had to do number 2. And I joined the Mile High Club. And not the one you're thinking of. I did a different kind of Mile High Club. I took a dump on a plane, which I'd never done before. And I never want to do again. But it couldn't be helped because it was a dire situation. And so, I get up, I go to the bathroom, and, I do my business, pooping, that is. I do my poop business. And it's like taking a poop in a roller coaster. It really is, because you would hit turbulence and cheeks were moving. Cheeks were up off the seat, not too bad, luckily, but there was a low rumble that was not coming from me, and there was a lot of movement that I was not causing. But it's the bathroom is so small that my knees were hitting both sides of the bathroom, so there was no movement, so I'm kind of sitting straight up like I'm in a Japanese jail cell. I can't move one way or the other, and it's loud, and you can't move anywhere. So when I'm done, I move. I have to turn around to flush, and pull my pants up, and of course your face is about 6 inches from what you had just deposited into there. So, that's no fun. And then pull your pants up, and then whoosh, away it goes. All the while, there's the roller coaster, moving you around. So you don't have any room. And but that wasn't the worst part of the flight. I don't want to throw any airlines under the bus, but Spirit, you got to get your shit together. I mean, we know you're ultra low fare, and you charge for everything, which is your business model, but you don't have to ultra low pay your employees, because they could not give a shit more. They were courteous, but actually no, they weren't courteous. I was going to say they were. I was going to say not courteous. They were capable. They did what flight attendants are supposed to do. But I had a jacket on, and I was trying to, as I was boarding the plane, I had a jacket on. I was trying to maneuver so I had a bottle of water and a cup of tea. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to set my bag down, take my jacket off, and luckily somebody in front of me said, "Hey, you want me to hold that for you?" I said, "Yes, please, thank you." So they held my thing, my drinks, while I quickly took my jacket on. I mean, I was rushing there. I knew there were people behind me, and the lady behind me, I heard her say, "Come on, we need to take off. We got to take off now." We didn't take off for another 10 minutes, but it was a flight attendant. And I'm thinking, of all people, you should be the most understanding of all this because you see this every day. The person in front of me, was just being a kind soul, but you're the one that's you're not in charge of the flight, but why are you hassling me? So that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. And then not this flight. I was going to say I had my earplugs in, but I didn't. I was just reading a book, and you know how hard it is to read on a plane. It's just so, just the loudest noise. I mean, flying has been around for over 100 years, and it's still loud as shit. So that goes to show you that jet engines are very powerful. But which it is what it is. I don't care. But in all that noise, I'm trying to read my book and just trying to relax a little bit before I get to where I'm going. The Spirit people get on and they make this probably 8-minute long speech on the benefits of a Spirit credit card and how you get so many miles and it's worth this many points, and let me see some hands if you want an application. Oh, I don't see any hands. Well, look on your trade table, see if there's a sticker in the lower right hand corner and you've won 5,000 points. And I don't see anybody. So it went back and forth. Finally, when he was done, after he passed out the one application that somebody actually wanted to fill out, after extolling the virtues of the features and benefits of the credit card, which there were none, but somehow he stretched it into 8-minute long speech. Then there was another 2 or 3 minutes after that of making sure that there was nobody else that wanted to fill out the stupid application. So the last 15 minutes of my flight before we landed were taken up by somebody, trying to sell me a credit card. And I'm a captive audience, so I don't like that. If you want to just do a brief mention of it, I get it. Hey, we got a credit card. You get 5,000 free points. They'll get you a round trip ticket to Kalamazoo. That's fine. But I didn't like how they just kept doing it and just kept, basically kept me from enjoying having a little bit of silence on my flight, as much silence as I could muster, which was 0, but they were just adding to the noise. So, whatever. What are you going to do? So that was my experience. Everything was really dusty too. It was really a dusty flight. And there was garbage still in the little seat back. It's not even a seat back now because because they're so cheap that it was just a bungee cord, literally a bungee cord attached to the seat that you could hold things like you would hold a water bottle on a camping backpack or something like that. But there was still trash there, and then obviously there's no free drinks or anything, no waters. You can't even get any water. You got to pay for it. So if you ever go on Spirit Airlines, make sure you bring your own water, and God forbid you have a carry-on because you have to pay extra for that. So it's probably better not to take them unless unless you really want to. Oh, something else I thought was funny in Nashville was we were eating breakfast and at a restaurant, and we were sitting outside, and this like really loud, I think it was a pickup truck, drove by, and it was playing "Many Men" by 50 Cent, and that wasn't the unique part. The unique part was it was blasting out of his speakers, but he also had a wireless mic hooked up. So he's driving, and he's driving slow down the street. So for about 150 feet, I heard this like thumping, like buzzing bass, low end rap music, with this guy rapping over it while driving down the street, and people were cheering him on. So he was rapping over the music. So I thought it was interesting. I'd never seen anything like that before, and it gave me an idea. I was like, I should do that. I should just get a wireless microphone. Remind me of that Simpsons episode where Bart falls down the well, but Homer gets him the FM microphone thing, and he's walking down the street or driving down the street with it, and there are people. Is that the right episode? It's Hammer. I can't remember now. I get them all confused, but it's Hammer. But no, and then Bart falls down the well because he's able to trick everybody. So yeah. So where are we? Oh man, a couple minutes. All right. So yeah, so that's that is the 6th show here. Like I said, it's been a rough week, but I'm gonna keep at it because I can't not. Got to keep moving on. I didn't have a chance to research a mental illness, but next week I will, and I will be back and tell you all about it. I haven't decided which one I'm going to look up. I got to look up, research the DSM, DSM 4 or 5, whatever one they have now, and see how it goes. So, yeah, so that's that. I got a couple minutes here, but I think I'm going to end a little early. Sorry for not giving you an entire 60 minutes, but I'll give you 20 minutes of good material and 38 minutes of mediocre material. But, hopefully that ratio will change and it'll flip. At least get to 30-30. It's not. It can't all be gold. I'm sure every single Johnny Carson is not gold, but there are some gold nuggets in there. I'm sure me talking about pooping is not riveting, but it's an experience I have, and that's it's my show. It's the Brian Show, and I get to talk about all the stupid shit that I want to talk about. And then by the end of it, I feel purged in all ways. So that's a good. That's a full circle there. I do this to purge myself, and then I talk about a purge of myself. Also, if you look up, let's see. I saw it today. Eric Swalwell. Look up Eric Swalwell and how he appears to fart on live TV, which, is always funny. It's some people are saying that he is that it was a cup moving across the desk, but I don't know. Listen for yourself. You tell me.
Chris, so far the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call. Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call.
Yeah, that's not a, that wasn't a cup. That might have been a chair on on like some tile or something, but even that. And if you look at his face, he's squeezing it out. So I'll leave you with that tonight. I never thought I would stoop as low to get to a flatulence humor. What do they call it? Scatological humor. But here we are. So that's kind of where I am in life this week. So like they said in Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. And thanks for listening. And I'll see you next week. See ya.